got some datelines here, guys. Interesting datelines here actually tonight. Andrew reached out to me and said, I got a hot one. I know our Skull's in the building as well. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and I want to drop down and let's see my man Andrew. I want my man Andrew to jump up here on the stage and definitely 100% deliver a hell of a dateline. Hey, if you guys are on CH, make sure you guys are bringing the people up and allowing them to get involved in this conversation as well. Also, guys, moving forward, if anyone comes off right after the end of the opening, just please just boot them. I don't care who it is. Okay, 100%. All right, because this is the artwork that we're creating here, and yeah, it is not for you to play with. It's not your creation. So with that being said, folks, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go over to Andrew. Let's go.
All right, what's up, everyone? Happy April 14th. Get ready to pay your taxes tomorrow, Uncle Sam. Today in the news, we saw President Bukele of El Salvador declared that he will not be returning the MS-13 gangbanger Garcia to the U.S. He was actually bewildered that we would be requesting an El Salvador citizen be who's a criminal be released from prison and sent back to the United States when he wasn't even here legally. So he could not believe it, and I can't either. But that's what Democrats want. They want criminals here on the streets and filling up our jails for no reason, just to break the system, I guess. Jeff Bezos sent a giant penis rocket straight out of Austin Powers into space with only women on it today. For some reason, that was supposed to be amazing and groundbreaking, but I didn't really see the significance of it. Carmelo Anthony was released on $250,000 of bond after stabbing Austin Metcalf to death. Uh, that's kind of wild. He has raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for a GoFundMe defense. He's going to be claiming that it was in self defense, and I don't know what y'all think about that, but that's kind of wild. Let's see what else. The market is totally fine. The sky's not falling at all. All right. Matter of fact, the Trueflation Daily Index is pegged at 1.49%. So that's pretty awesome. Gold is up at 30 over 3,200 an ounce. Bitcoin's nearing 85,000 again. The 10-year Treasury notes at 4.37%. Looks like it's going to keep dropping down. Not a big deal. Nvidia announced a $500 billion initiative over the next 4 years to manufacture AI supercomputers. At the same time, 25% of Americans said that they would leave their jobs for a factory job, right? So America is roaring back, guys. And it turns out that rare earth minerals aren't that rare. It's just the refining of them. That process is rare. 85% of that is done in China. And Trump, guess what? He's going to bring that process back to the US. So he's identified our weaknesses. You know, COVID really exposed the gaps in national security that we have uh, in the world right now. And he's using tariffs and tax cuts to fill our gaps. So it's a great time to be alive. Don't believe the fear porn that the Democrats want you to believe. Just be happy for your country and celebrate with the rest of us. It's great. And enjoy paying your taxes tomorrow. I land.
Absolutely, Andrew. I appreciate that, man. A hell of a job as always. Once again, a hell of a job as always. Appreciate you, guys. What we're going to do right now is I'm going to move it over to Skull. Skull, are you there? Does he give us a dateline?
I'm
Let's do
here.
it.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Debate the News. I am Scald Crypto here with the market update as well as some correcting alternative facts. Market started off very green today. Things were going well on hopes that perhaps the exemptions that were talked about at the end of the day on Friday were somehow going to be implemented on China. President Trump clarified that that might happen or it might not happen anyway. Long story short, the markets were pretty green. They fell off a cliff in the afternoon. I'm not gonna lie to you folks. They did still finish slightly in the green, but they did give back a lot of their early morning gains. One stock that was a real standout was MP Materials. I've been talking about these guys. I've been talking about the ticker MP for a while. Been mentioning it for a while on here, folks. It was up over 22% today. I've only been talking about it for 3 weeks. So that is the lone manufacturer of rare earth metals. There are some other companies trying to get into that space very frantically, but that is the only rare earth miner and manufacturer that is owned and operates here in the United States of America. China has just announced, as of a few hours ago, that they are cutting off all rare earth shipments. They control about 63% of the world supply. Vietnam controls another 20%. Between the two of them, they control 80% of all rare earth materials. These would be things like neodymium magnets. If you don't know what those are, if you have a hard drive in your computer, it probably uses them. Unless you have a solid state drive, then it doesn't. MRI machines use them. There's all kinds of stuff we use these rare earth metals for, folks, and being cut off from them will be a challenge. In addition, President Bukhari met with President Trump and said he would not be bringing back the MS-13 gang member. In addition to this, OSINT and espionage forums are alight with studying the satellite images of CCOT, the prison in El Salvador. If you look at the satellite photos, there are some very, very disturbing things that do indeed look like piles of corpses here in this El Salvadorian prison. We don't have any word from El Salvador of what these satellite photos show. If you give that a quick Google, you can look it up and see for yourself. There are certainly there's something piled up there that looks red. I don't know what that is. Anyway, it's very disturbing, very disturbing stuff. And President Trump said he wants to send the homegrowns. What does he mean by homegrowns? Well, President Trump has helpfully clarified in the last few hours that by homegrowns he means American citizens. He wants to send American citizens, deprive them of all due process and the right of habeas corpus, which, you know, they're going to be sent away to gulags in foreign countries in direct contravention of at least four different amendments of the United States Constitution, a document that I mind you, he is sworn to uphold and defend as the President of the United States. Anyway, I'm going to go. Oh, sorry. One last thing. That study that that Andrew was citing, 80% of Democrats and 83% of Republicans think that America would be better served if we brought back manufacturing. That's wonderful. However, 18% of Democrats and only 20% of Republicans want to work in those factories. So they like the idea of you working in a factory, but they're not going to work in the factory, folks. So I don't know who these people think are going to be working in these factories. Apparently, 4 out of 5 people on both sides of the aisle want factories back here, but only 1 out of 5 want to work in them. So I'll go ahead and land there.
All right, Skull. Hey guys, here's the deal. Man, so here's the deal. Yeah, you guys got me self-conscious now. I'm like, man, and I stop. Here's the deal, folks. I'm excited to get back here, start this week off with debate the news, as always. There's some things that was missed. One of the things that was missed is Harvard University. Harvard University lost $2.2 billion in funding, guys. And it was frozen, actually, by the Trump administration. And, the Trump administration done this to other universities, and they sort of caved. And Harvard has not caved. And, kudos to Harvard for not caving on this, because I think this is an important battle. When you start messing with the universities and the young, I think it just gets us closer and closer to an America we don't want to look like. So, shout out to Harvard. Harvard did not cave like some of the other universities that have caved in the past. The Trump administration wanted Harvard University to essentially implement, they said, anti-Semitic policies. They want to stop like the protests, like the Israel protests. That's what they consider anti-Semitic. They also They also wanted them, I guess, to implement their anti DEI policies, as well as some just follow a program that's in accord, put someone in place that would follow, I guess, what their policies, what they want to put in place. So that is something that once again, I did not think that the other universities that acquiesced to that, I didn't think it was smart to do so. But now seeing that Harvard has stood up, hopefully all the other universities will get a spine as well, because this is not something that they should be doing. Also, there's a memo that just came out this evening where Trump plans to cut, I guess, the budget of the State Department in half. Let that sit there, folks. And the reason I let that sit there is because when you talk when you're speaking about the State Department, you're cutting the budget in half. All right. And right now we're in the process of negotiating, I don't know, 186, 187 tariff deals, trade deals. And we're talking about cutting the staffs in half. Guys, it does this stuff, the math is just not math. And we don't have the manpower right now to get it done. We certainly won't have the manpower if we start cutting these departments in half like this. And just want to put that out there, that that's something that he's doing, and I'm just floored by. But more importantly, as I want to go down to Frisco, Texas. All right, Frisco, Texas. Carmelo Anthony, the young man that is alleged to have stabbed Austin Metcalf and in the chest and caused his death, had a bail reduction hearing today. That bail reduction hearing, he had a bail of $1 million. The bail was reduced to $250,000 over the objection of the prosecutors. The prosecutor wanted the bail to remain. The prosecutor cited the GoFundMe as has reached over $400,000 as one of the reasons that bail should remain at $1 million. The judge, the defense had the father testify. The father testified that he was the oldest of the family, and he worked two jobs, and that he's never been in trouble with the law. He was the captain of the football team, and he was also on the track team. So the judge decided to give him a $250,000 bail, a bond. Okay, and so with that being said, that has taken place as well. So that's what we have. I want to start off with that, but more importantly, the topic that we have right now is Donald Trump. Right now, was overheard on a hot mic speaking to the El Salvadorian president. All right. And what he said was he spoke to him about basically. Okay, we got a hot mic there, and I'm trying to figure out where the hot mic is coming from. But can you guys help me locate the hot mic? So yeah, Donald Trump spoke to the El Salvadorian president. He was over on a hot mic speaking to him about the homegrowns and asking about the homegrowns, and the El Salvadorian, I guess, the president must have had his mic on, and it fed over to them, and somehow or another the American media got a hold of it, and so Donald, they're talking about building five more prisons. I don't know if you guys heard that, 4 or 5 more prisons is what he said for the homegrowns. So with that being said, guys, each one of those prisons hold 40,000 people. Let me say that again. Each one of those prisons hold 40,000 people. So if he builds 5 prisons, that's 200,000 people. Okay, in addition to what they have right now, and he wants to put the homegrowns down there. Right now, I think our prison population, last time I checked, was like 2 million and something. So he wants. We're already our country already imprisons more people than anyone else around the world per capita. All right. He wants to put, a tenth of what we currently have in prison, you know, down there. And I'm not talking about Emmy. I'm talking about just people that he can't that commit crimes. Okay. And guys, catching federal charges basically get state charges. So think about that. To be able to build that many prisons, okay, that large, and like once again, I'm making the assumption that they're all going to be the same as CCOP. That's 200,000 American citizens being put down in a third world country. So that's something that we want to speak about today. That the fact that Donald Trump has decided to move in that direction. More importantly, I also want to speak about the fact that Donald Trump not only want to move in that direction with I guess quote unquote the homegrowns, the fact that Donald Trump refused to bring back, okay, and have now defied the Supreme Court order. All right, and so he's going to be back in front of the court. Essentially, he's saying that that no courts have the authority to over foreign U.S. government foreign policy. Now, they also are saying that the El Salvadorian president that was sitting there with Trump, President Trump today in the Oval Office, said he cannot. What does he look like trying to smuggle? That's his words, not mine. A terrorist back into the country. And then they asked, will you turn them free on the streets? Would you let them loose on the streets? He then said, no, why would I let a terrorist walk free on the streets? When we just turned one of the worst countries, the most dangerous countries in the Western Hemisphere into one of the most safest countries into the Western Hemisphere. Mind you, folks, this gentleman has been determined not to be a gang member. All right. And the Trump administration admitted that this person was sent there accidentally. All right. So I want you guys to be mindful of those facts right there. So with that being said, I'll go. I'll go here. All right. I've never thought that I would see the day where an American president is willfully defying a Supreme Court order, and I never thought I'd see the day where an American president would be looking to send American citizens, okay, to another country, all right, a third world country. That, goes against everything that we have here, everything that we do here. That goes against everything that is America. That goes against everything. So with that being said, I don't know, what to expect here. We spoke about this earlier, and then, I believe we were in another space speaking about this actually earlier in the day, and it was brought up, and Rashawn's like, I'm worried that he may do that, and I'm like, yeah, that'd be a Supreme Court battle, and I thought it was possible, but to hear him verbalize it today was just utter shock because he actually was walking and whispering. This is Donald Trump unfiltered, folks. This is not Donald Trump being theatrical. This is not, and I want you guys to understand that this is not a case where Donald Trump was like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. He wasn't doing a weave, he wasn't doing any of that. He was actually, believe it or not, having a very candid and private conversation with the president of El Salvador while they were walking. And it just happened to be caught on a hot mic. That's the scary part because that lets you know that this is real. This is not fake, it's real. So, that's that's what I have for opening. I mean, the mic. I'm going to open the mic up right now for each and every one of you guys. I know that two can take the mic because he brought this up. He spoke about this earlier. I don't know if two's available, but Rashawn, I know you're here. I see that you're here, and I know that you brought this up earlier. I want to make sure that you're here, Rashawn. If you're here, let me know that you're here. A mic, just so I can see you. A mic or two. A mic, that way I can see you guys. A mic. Okay. All right. So Vashawn is here. All right. So I'm gonna turn this over to Vashawn. All right. And so Vashawn, I'm gonna hand the mic to you. What
Oh,
do you
good.
Let's
can you guys handle CH please? Yeah, please guys, if you're over on CH, please make sure you guys handle this so we don't have to deal with that because I was very specific who I wanted to speak. So with that being said, Vashawn, I'm gonna hand the mic over to you. Let's go.
Okay, yeah. So no, I mean, I think that we are at an interesting point, in American history. I have often said that the Constitution is just a piece of paper. We feel like we have protections that really don't truly exist. They exist because people choose for them to exist. The American people are the leaders that we elect. They decided to uphold the Constitution. So anyways, I also said that the balance, the checks and balances is an illusion, right? It really is. And we're starting to see that. We know that in Project 2025, one of the pillars of Project 2025 was to centralize authority around the executive branch. And this is what we're watching happening. So, regarding the conversation we were having earlier, my point was is that I actually, as an American citizen, I am concerned about leaving the country. And everyone was like, "No, that's crazy. You're an American citizen." I'm like, "No, we just deported a permanent resident, and we won't bring him back." And we're also speaking on um, taking American citizens and jailing them and essentially deporting them to El Salvador. So anyway, so that was just my thoughts, on that. I think that this is just the beginning. I think that when you're hearing the president saying that vandalism is terrorism, okay? When you're hearing sorry, excuse me. Somebody's mic. Yeah. So when you're hearing that vandalism is terrorism, when you hear things like, okay, the cartels, we're going to start classifying them as terrorist organizations. That sounds good until you realize that that's going to spill over to the American people. And it may not just be people who are involved in crime knowingly. It could be a real estate person, mortgage person, someone who doesn't even realize that somehow they are, caught up in this process. So I think we're living in scary times, Jonathan. And yeah, and I'll be honest, as an American citizen, I am concerned.
As is myself. Anyone agrees with this? Just sending criminals down to another country. Anyone has is anyone okay with this? Because anyone? All right. So
I mean, I'm definitely open to it, not gonna lie. And by the way,
Open to
Mr.
certain ones.
Garcia, one moment, please. Mr. Garcia, just to clarify, was not a legal resident of this country yet, correct? He
I
was
didn't say
under,
it. No, but he was here legally.
no,
He
but
came
it
in.
was,
He came in here illegally in
I'm
2011.
just saying that President Trump has not sent a legal resident of this country to a foreign prison that we know of yet, correct?
No,
No,
he
he
was here
was
legally.
legally.
He's here, but he's here legally.
Mm.
Go ahead, Dinah.
Yeah, he was a permanent resident. I
No,
mean,
He was not.
He was
You
not. He
better
was not.
fact check.
Why
He
did you
was
guys walk
not.
into that trap? Why did y'all walk into that honey
No,
trap?
because it was said. It was said that he was a.
No,
It. Mira, señora, I know what I
you
said.
said
What
it.
I
You said
heard.
it. It was said, and
It was
I.
said President Trump is sending permanent residents to foreign prisons. Number one, I'm not opposed to that yet. Number two, it's not true anyway. Just for the record, come on, Trump supporters, where are y'all tonight? We want to
Yep,
hear it from you guys.
exactly. But
They're all in
Diana,
the
Diana,
to
chat
answer
Okay.
your
corner.
question, Diana, I was
Diane's here for
actually
the
trying to
smoke
Listen
find
ring.
to
out
You're
all
what
those
is.
correct.
Trump supporters we got tonight.
No, that's actually Diana. I'm
that's
glad you brought
Diana.
that
That's
up.
my girl Diana.
That's the question that I'm looking at get the answer to. What is his current legal status? What is his status in America? 'Cause I guess I'm hearing he was here illegally, but what is his current status?
No, he
Because
was
I'm
here legally, not illegally. Legally.
no, I
Why?
didn't say
Why is
illegally. What I'm asking is what is his current status? Because the news that's been reported per even I believe that was your the Dateline in here
Ask and
was
it
that
shall be
we've
answered. Abrega
we've sent
Garcia
off.
entered the U.S. illegally in 2011 at the
Yeah.
age of 16. In 2019, an immigration judge granted him withholding of removal, a form of protection from deportation due to gang threats against his family's business in El Salvador, where he is from. The status has allowed him to live and work legally in the U.S. with a work
Boom.
permit, but did not confer lawful permanent residence,
So then what do we? What's the
often
argument?
called a green card. So he did not have a green card.
I agree. I agree with that 100%. That's why I guys you walked into Diana set you guys up and scold. I'm surprised that you walked into that. I tried to stop you from walking into that trap.
A
and she
point
was
for the
bait. She,
conservatives.
she
No,
was
but walking
baiting.
into that trap
But
actually doesn't
No,
matter, though,
that's
Jonathan.
actually not true, Diana. You don't know what you're talking about. He was granted a green card by the courts, and the Trump administrations are the ones saying that that was in error. So he has a green card, and they're saying he doesn't.
Yeah.
Take it up with
So,
Grok 3. I'm
so
going to go
what?
check
I
another
don't
AI.
understand what your argument is here. That the president can just say, "Oh no, the court did that by mistake," and it's suddenly a mistake.
Listen, first of all, it's not Trump saying he doesn't want to bring him back, okay? It's Bukele who we should be
No, it's
watching.
Trump saying he doesn't want
No,
to
it
bring
is.
him back.
Hold on, let me
Right.
land.
And
It is
as
not
and as
Trump.
the
Y'all,
president of the
listen, you
United
guys on the
States, he
left
has
need to
a
be reporting
obligation
facts.
to uphold the Constitution. I mean, this
Hold,
is
hold
ridiculous.
on, Scald. It's not President Trump who's saying that he doesn't want him back. As far as I've heard and seen and read, it's Bukele who is saying, "No way, Jose, I'm not giving you guys back a
literally,
terrorist." I think exactly. But I'll
Well,
I'll
guess
fact
whose
check
fault
myself,
that is,
Scald.
Diana?
I'll
It's
fact check
President
myself.
Trump for erroneously and wrongfully deporting this
But
guy.
it wasn't a wrongful deportation.
It doesn't matter.
Of
But
His
no, no,
course
no.
it
But you, no, no,
legal
no. You
matters.
can't say
no,
it was
it
a
does not
wrongful
matter.
deportation
His
and then
legal
say it
duty
doesn't
is to
matter.
defend the Constitution
But you
and to
can't say.
protect the rights of American citizens
But
and
he's not.
everyone who is protected by the Constitution. It's his bad. It's still his fault.
You
And
must
I don't
first
care if a
understand the
foreign president,
Constitution to
I
Let me
don't
land.
protect
Let
the
me
care
land.
if a
Constitution.
foreign president is telling him no. He better get his art of the deal ass in the room and fix what he was sworn to
But what is there
uphold.
to fix?
Look,
What is there to fix in this
y'all, I'm
situation,
reading
Skull?
something right now.
The
Let
man
someone
was
answer Marty's
mistakenly
question. It's a good
Hold on. I
question.
want, yeah, please let me talk, Skull. What is there to fix
mistakenly
in this
deported.
situation right now?
Well, right now, what is being said by the courts is that is a 9-0 decision that he needs to effectuate or whatever the return. So clearly, he was deported wrongfully, and so therefore
facilitate. So
Okay,
it's
look,
facilitate.
yeah, yeah,
So
it's a big difference.
facilitate, right? So he, clearly he's made a mistake here, and therefore it's his problem to fix.
it doesn't seem like it though. I'm reading this right now. It
But
says he was granted a form of legal protection called withholding of removal by an immigration judge in 2019, which allowed him to live and work legally in the United States due to the risk of persecution if returned to El Salvador. The status, however, is
See,
not the same as having a green card, which
Thank
is a
you.
permanent resident status.
I
it is
agree.
not the same, but he was protected from removal.
No,
2 points for the
okay,
No,
but
well,
conservatives,
time out,
Michael
time out,
Knight.
time out, time
Give
out,
him
time
the
out.
rest of it.
I just said time out, please. Time out. All right, guys. Here's the deal. All right, Skull. Yeah, your information was incorrect, and I was trying to find it because I knew it wasn't correct. He did not have a green card status. Okay, I just want to put that out there because I don't want us to keep going on with incorrect information. So I wanted that to be put out there. Skull. Yeah, it wasn't a green card. He wasn't a green card holder. Now, but with that being said, some of the people that has been sent back are green card holders. Some of the real gang members that have been sent back are green card holders. Okay. So I just want to put that out there as well. But we're not disputing that because we can't believe, we can't say that they were quote unquote, well, because of the way they were removed under the status, I guess with the law that they were removed under. Um, yeah, yeah, we can't debate that. We're not debating that. We're talking about people that are wrongfully removed. That's another battle. So I don't want to confuse that battle with this particular battle right here. But yeah, he did have the right to live and work in the United States.
so are
He
we
was married. He
saying
was
that the
also
gang?
married to a U.S. citizen and had a child.
You know what? I'm gonna put this out here because I just thought about something. It just dawned on me. I maybe this wasn't accidental and it was intentional, and maybe Trump is making trades. So maybe we're making deals that hey, we'll do this, but this is what we want. And so this guy was intentionally sent back because El Salvador. Because this shouldn't be a big deal. Like this shouldn't be a big deal, but it is. So that's what I'm thinking. What do you guys think?
I think this could revolutionize the prison system.
What are you talking
That's an
about?
interesting take on it.
I mean, listen, y'all think 2 or 3 times before you end up in a prison abroad about committing crimes in the United States of America. I'll tell you that
Well,
much.
that's a
Yeah, they
violation
have
of about
rockets that
four
can send
different
you now.
constitutional amendments, firstly. So clearly, the president
Listen,
shouldn't
I'm
be
not
doing
even
that
sure you
anyway.
and I interpret that Constitution the same right now. We might have to have a whole nother room just on the Constitution.
Well, unfortunately, 9 out of the 9 Supreme Court justices agree with me. So I don't know where you're getting your information
I'm
from.
telling you right now, it is not Trump who is saying he won't return the prisoner. It's not even our prisoner. He was born in El Salvador.
He
This
is.
does have big ramifications, so I'm glad we're covering it, but that's why I want to be very specific on the facts.
Yeah, Diana. He was our prisoner. Okay, he hasn't committed a crime in El Salvador. All right, and he hasn't committed a crime in the United States. He should be no one's prisoner. And so, and that's what we're I think we're sort of glossing over right here, the fact that this gentleman hasn't committed a crime. In fact, he had a Chicago Bulls hat on or something like that. Jersey. It was one of those things that led to his arrest. Okay, and some tattoos. That was
I have
it.
a question. I have a question.
But
Just to clarify though, why doesn't he just come back? Who's stopping him from coming back?
Donald Trump is stopping him from coming back.
He's in
How
jail.
so?
Now let
He's
me
in
just say
jail.
he's in jail. He's in prison. Okay, Donald Trump and put him in a prison, a very secure prison, and he cannot get out. Now, the president of El Salvador was in Washington today in the Oval Office, sitting beside Trump, and he pretty much said he can't smuggle him back. You know, and he said this sort of smug, and Trump said this sort of with a smug smile on his face. It's like, hey, we can't go down and invade the country to get him either. Now, this is Trump's mess. He did it. Guys, we've had people in North Korea that we were able to negotiate and get out. We've had people in prisons all over, all over the world, Iraq, Iran, everywhere, and we were
Where's that
able
one
to.
basketball player in
Uh,
Russia? She caught with weed or whatever. We got her out.
yeah.
I mean,
So, no, but guys, this is not one of those things. It's one of those things you broke it, you fix it, and it's not even broken. This is just the Trump administration trying to broaden executive powers.
But
And
Jonathan, are you saying that if you go into another country illegally, you are not committing a crime in your own country? I mean, doesn't it
no,
start issues between countries
Not come
when
no,
illegally.
are
no.
you guys sure about that? I don't know the answer. I'll go
No,
research it.
no. If I the
No.
only way I no that's if I was to leave the United States of America, okay, and land on a layover in another country, and I walk out of the airport, I break to whatever, and I get to the customs and all that other stuff, and I go in and stay at that country. I didn't break a law of the United States at all.
Right, but in this case, we would have to check if a law was broken in El Salvador. I'll check because I'm curious
There
so now I
wasn't
gotta know.
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, you check on that one. But Jonathan, let me tell you what troubles me about the whole thing. First of all, I hope the fact that this a Salvadorian president just happens to be show up in Washington at the time the Trump administration practically under court order, the timeline to show effort in bringing this guy back. And the president just happened to show up in Washington. I hope that coincidence is not going over everybody's head, right? It's just, just a happenstance that it just happened, right? So this is what troubles me here. The extent that our president will go to involve a foreign president, another country, in order to aid it to subvert the decision of our Supreme Court, to more or less subvert our democracy, to involve and employ a foreign president to do that is one thing that gives me very troubling mind above every other thing. It tells me that our current system can now go to any extent whatsoever in order to implode itself. And that is the fact that any American, whether you are a Republican, Democrat, whatever your persuasion is, listen, this alone should give you an alarm and make you rethink if you really want a free country or not. And I rest.
All right. Anyone wants to jump in on this? Because the way I see it, if we can't get him back because El Salvador said they're smuggling back, how will we be able to get American citizens back? Storm?
Yo, Jonathan.
But we're not sending any American citizens over.
Excuse me.
No, I was just. You said how will we be able to get American citizens back during this deportation process? I don't think any American citizens have been getting sent over.
Yeah.
Yet.
Well, once again,
Well, we can say yet, but I mean through
no, no,
prior
no.
administrations, through all the millions of people who have been deported, I'm yet to see an American citizen be
We're yet
deported.
to
So I
see
Wait,
think we
wait,
need to
wait,
go.
anything.
wait, 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 wait. Let's say American citizens have been deported, Marty.
Well, what the way we're going about, I'm saying deported for not under, or they were just accidentally swooped up and deported
There,
because I mean, come on, bro.
yes, American citizens have been deported, Marty.
Ma-
But that's another show. All right. Do it quick.
Go
You,
ahead.
you 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 like to check. You like to check the facts. Go check and see American citizen accidentally deported. Look that Google that. But Marty, what we're speaking about when we say American citizens, Donald Trump today was caught on a hot mic speaking with the Salvadorian president and requesting, letting him know that he's ready to send homegrowns over.
Jonathan, I have a lot of questions about what the heck he meant by a homegrown, but I looked something up while we were talking about this subject, and I've got some contrary information that I need cleared up here. So it says here in what I'm reading today about that meeting is that Trump, and I'm reading verbatim here from PBS.org to source it. It says verbatim, Trump referred questions about Arbego Garcia to Attorney General Pam Bondi, who said he was illegally in the US and that courts have ruled that Abrego Garcia was a member of the MS-13 gang. And I only say that to say that's contrary to what was already stated here earlier. So just for conversation's sake, I want to make sure we have whatever facts are facts.
That fact have been debunked. You are late into the
I'm
scene,
late to the
Daphyne.
game.
Yeah, you're very, very late to the game. Sorry.
And there's a reason they were talking
JB, you're
that now
muted.
because they're
Yeah, this guy is a family. This guy wants saying, go ahead, Jonathan.
no, I mean they have now put the person who admitted that it was an accident is now not allowed to talk. They're being suppressed. They've been removed from their job because they admitted that, they made a mistake. So that person's not
Mm.
allowed to talk. And now Pam Bondi's talking. So I don't know who we can believe there. I'm going to go with the person who had the information.
Yeah, the original prosecutor, they called him a Democratic shield and operative and everything else. But he was in court, and the whole while he was in court, they didn't stop it. They didn't say one moment. They didn't text. They didn't do anything. And when they realized that they lost and that they were going to be ordered, they blamed it on him. And so once again, I don't think it was. I think it was. I don't even know if it was a Democratic appointee. All right. I don't think that the Trump administration will allow that to happen. But no, this gentleman is not, and I repeat, is not a criminal. The gentleman was working, and he has not been ruled. A court don't rule you to be a member of a gang. No one goes to court and get their gang certification.
Just reading. Yeah, no, and what the heck did he mean by homegrown? I've read that on all these different. I've looked into it. I've researched, and I don't have I have no idea what he meant by that. So I'd like to have an idea. Storm, you look like you know. What do you think he meant by homegrown?
Everyone knows. He even admitted what it was. It was
What,
U.S.
what was it, Jonathan? What's
Yeah,
Yeah,
homegrown?
Trump,
What do you
Trump
think,
even
Jonathan?
said that he meant U.S. citizens by that.
Yeah, that's what I
That
said. He
he
even
even
said it.
literally said that, folks.
What we're saying is you commit crimes and you become violent and he doesn't want you in this country, if his administration deems you unworthy of living here because of the criminal acts you're partaking in, they want to send you to a foreign jail. And that means a homegrown person, someone that was born here. Like, this is crazy. You cannot send someone to another country because they have committed a crime here. We have a judicial system. And Skull just said it. There's like four different aspects of the Constitution that definitely defends that. So if anybody that's okay with this and shaking their head saying like, no, he should be allowed to do this, I land.
I would be okay with it
Un-American,
if they weren't
actually,
tortured.
just fully un-American. If you support this, like you've never read the Constitution in your life. I mean, I try to stay fairly neutral, but like honestly, if you support this, you have no understanding of the civic process in this country. Because firstly, people are using the word deport citizens. You, by definition, cannot deport a citizen. That is not how it works. You can deport foreigners. Like, just think for a second, guys. Take a step back. It doesn't make any sense. I'll land.
They're
So
not
also,
deported, they're just
conceivably,
temporary relocated.
and then conceivably, think about it, guys. I mean, when we're thinking about, he's talking about building, we need at least 5 prisons or whatever. I mean, this is, kind of equates to like a penal colony or even a concentration camp. And it sounds good until you realize that it's going to be misused. You think that all of the people that we've been sending back are hardened criminals. That is just a lot of false information. They were going to people's workplaces to find these individuals who are going to work every day. Okay, granted, they are here illegally, but these are all like just very false things that are being spent. So when we talk about Trump saying, okay, we want to send our hardened criminals who are U.S. citizens to El Salvador, we know there are a lot of innocent people. We know that there'll be individuals who don't deserve to be there. And that's going to be a crazy, insane thing. And it may not be you, but it may be somebody you know or love. And yeah, it's going to be a crazy time.
Uh, we got to back this up a little bit. We know that there have been several missteps on this entire thing. We still don't have a list of who was sent there, so we don't even know who is actually there because they're criminals or there because they just got mixed up at the wrong time and got sent there. There's at
Who
least
doesn't
3
have a
people.
list? Who doesn't have a
Trump
list,
has not
Jonathan?
released the list, Diana.
How are you just going to expect him to just, here's the list? Is that how it
Well,
usually
he
works?
needs. There was a whole lot of people on an airplane. There should have been a list of who was on that airplane. He has not released that
And
list.
I'm sure our government has a
Do we?
list of such fellas on
Then
the
why will they
airplane.
not release it and let us know who was on that plane to see if there are actually criminals and gang
I
members?
mean, you
Because
sound like
really,
you're the
they.
Supreme Court right now, Jonathan.
Well, that's what the court, Anna, and they make the laws in the land.
What did they say?
It's a,
Because
it's
right now,
They
you guys
don't.
believed that somebody had a
Nine
green
oh.
card when they didn't.
I didn't say he had a green
Obviously.
card. Don't mix up somebody else's mistakes for me. I did not say he had a green card. He was legally protected
Why
to
not?
be
You do
here.
it to Trump all the time, expecting him to literally be omnipresent for every single person on
I
every
don't.
single corner. This is insanity right now.
No, what you're talking is insanity. The fact that you think that this is okay in the United States is absolute insanity, Diana.
I never said it was okay, but you guys don't even want to
But you're
have a freaking
defending it.
conversation. You don't even want
You're
to have
defending
a
it.
conversation. How am I defending it? We can't even talk about it. I don't even have an ability to defend it because you won't even talk
Go.
about it. Let me ask you a question so you can talk about it. Do you think that there are any crimes possible in the good old country of the United States of America that would warrant some of these prisoners to go and learn some new skill sets in a prison abroad instead of murdering them, which is what some of your guys' states want to do in the first place? What's the problem? Talk about it.
Absolutely not. One, I don't believe in the death penalty. Two, they should not be sent to another country, especially without due process, which these people were sent without due process.
But what if there was due process then? Would it be okay? Get to the solution. My goodness,
Get to the
enough with the
solution?
problems.
Okay.
Well,
No, I don't
I
think it's okay.
am pro death penalty, and yeah, if there's due process, kill their ass. There's as guess what? You know who I want to be pulling the trigger or flipping that switch? An American in an American prison on an American who has done such heinous shit. We have decided that they deserve death.
So
End
you
of
rather
story.
kill them than try to rehabilitate them somewhere else.
no. I think
Are we
Nice.
rehabilitating them in El Salvador where there's
You
Yeah,
don't
possibly
that's
piles
know.
of
not
You
dead
that's not
don't
what's up
bodies?
for
know.
debate
I
here,
heard
Diane.
they're learning how to
How
knit
do
and
they get
sew
more
over there.
respect than black men that are in
okay.
prison in this country?
I want to ask a question
Go
after
ahead.
Sherry's question. Well, let's think about it like this, right? And just the American prisons, it's profit. Do you really think that Trump is going to create a whole system over there to send American prisoners over there where money's being made off for prisoners here in the United States? That's going against everything that he believes in.
Well,
Yeah,
to make that
It's
point,
saving the American government money. Sending them there is cheaper for the American government. So yeah, while it's not making money for the prisoners here, it's saving the American government the money that they would be spending to those prisoners to hold those prisoners. So it's still a win-win for Trump.
yeah. I think he had the contract, and it's $6 million. I don't know if it's $6 million a year or whatever, but $6 billion. Let me just say this, guys. Um, first and foremost, due process has to happen. All right, and that's the whole thing here. Had we had due process, we wouldn't be dealing with what we're dealing with right now. All right, we would be basically like, okay, next, that's what I believe will be happening if we had due process. Unfortunately, we didn't have due process. Um, with that being said, we also have to look at the fact that, yeah, if we're going to send someone somewhere, we got to be able to bring them back. All right, I think 300 inmates went over there, prisoners went over there. Right now, let's just use. There's supposed to be at least three that we know of that are innocent. All right, but let's just use the one. Right now, we have a prison population of 2.2 million. Okay, and Trump wants them to build another 5 jails. This is came out of Trump's mouth. He's like 4 or 5. Feel like 4 or 5 more. This is Trump talking to
Can
the
you
South.
play that, Jonathan?
Uh, yeah, we can find it. Chat, can you find that and cue that up, chat?
Sure. One sec.
Yeah, yeah. It's an open mic. I think it was what they call those when they leave their mic open.
A hot
Hot
mic.
mic.
Hot mic. Yep, hot mic. Yep. And so Trump was speaking to the Salvadorian president, and he said, I want you to build like 4 or 5 more. Now, in each one of those prisons hold 40,000 inmates. That's 200,000. I mean, that's 200,000, right? People. That's a lot of freaking people. That's a lot of people. A lot of Americans. Okay, because he said he wants to build those for the homegrowns.
What
Okay,
does homegrowns mean?
American citizens.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, he said it himself. He
No,
he, he
I
himself.
said that's ridiculous. If you're
Yeah,
caught doing a crime as an American, you go to an American prison here. You don't go outside the
Thank you, Cindy.
country. I'm sorry, that's just
Thank
dead
you for
wrong.
common sense.
Okay? I mean, that's just crazy. As far
Matt,
as
what's
I'm,
up?
what are you gonna do? You're gonna send blue collar crime workers to El Salvador because they I don't know, it's a blue collar crime, and where's a shut off to what the crime is? Like, no, you're caught doing something wrong. You're an American here. You were born American citizen, and then you're gonna send somebody to another country that's gonna really like do things a lot differently than we do here. I'm not for that one.
Let's play the other side of
Thank you,
that,
Cindy.
Cindy. Let's just play the other side of this. Here we go.
Eh,
Let's stir it
I
up,
could do
Jonathan.
that, Storm, but I don't like the other side.
So let's
Even if
say
you're a
we've got
rapist, you're a
we've got
child
people
molester, you're
on
the
death
worst of
row.
the
We've
worst.
we've got people who've committed murder, rape, whatever it is. I'm talking
Yeah,
about the most heinous stuff.
yeah.
And hear me out. Hang on, Cindy. Hear me out on this. Let's say we're talking about people who get, I don't know, 14 or 15 consecutive life sentences. They get the death penalty. There is no way they're going to be eligible for parole. I don't know about you guys, but an American prison, as opposed to a Mexican prison, I'd much rather be in an American prison because they treat you a little differently in an American prison as they do the Mexican prison. So I'm not necessarily disagreeing, but I'm just saying the people who got the worst crimes, get them the hell out of here. Let them suffer in somebody else's country and let them take care of it. Why put it on our
So
taxpayer
what?
dollar when
Okay,
they're going
so
to have
let's
the
go
death
there.
penalty or like, I don't
Like,
know,
like
15 consecutive
the
life sentences?
Jeffrey
Why do we have
Dahmers
to
of the.
support that?
Are we talking like the Jeffrey Dahmers of the world?
I'm talking,
That's
yeah, I'm talking
exactly
about the
who I'm talking
nastiest of
about.
the nasty.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, there are criminals. They did in our country. They're born in our country. Jeffrey Dahmer deserves to go to prison in our country. I hear what
Cindy,
you're saying
Why?
because
Cindy,
it's an American crime by an American citizen.
Cindy. Let me
There are
just
two things. Go
let me,
ahead,
one second. Let
Jonathan.
let me just say something. You guys are so quick to jump on this, and you guys, like I said, you guys are checker players all day long, not chess players. All right, and I say that respectfully because here's the deal, folks. You send someone down to El Salvador. El Salvador could have a coup at any time. Could be destabilized at any time. Okay, we sent them down there, and now all of a sudden that government is destabilized, and that they let these people out. Okay, and these people make their ways back up here. All right.
How do they
Wait,
do
wait,
that with a
wait, wait,
closed
wait.
border, Jonathan?
It's almost no such thing as a closed border. There's no such thing as a closed border.
You think they're going to make it back to the United States?
Yeah, just the same way the
The
Salvadorians,
same way
the
Cuba
same,
did what they did in the
the
80s.
same, the same way the Salvadorians made it up here. It's the same way that guy from Maryland at 16 years old was able to make it up here.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Yeah, under
Wait,
the
wait,
last
wait,
administration, I'd agree
Yeah.
with you all day long.
Stop. Stop.
Not
Look
with
at
this
what
one.
is wrong with your. Look at what is wrong with your position. It's not only that it's inhumane, to the extent that number one, before you even take that position, you need to consult how many people that have been exonerated from life sentences. You got to look, see what the Innocent Project are doing there. That's number one. Okay.
How many is
Number
that, Sir
two.
Jude?
Well, hold on,
How
hold
many
on.
is that?
I'm
One is
just
too
giving you a
many.
homework. Let me finish, please. Secondly, you also need to refresh yourself with the Eighth Amendment that prevents cruel and unusual punishment, even if you're on the death row. Even if you're on the death row, the condition by which these people are held over there are completely in abrogation amendment. It's cruel and inhumane. Okay, and if you're putting somebody else, you're putting somebody else in somebody in the gulag. You're putting that person there with an idea of rehabilitation. You're taking these people away from their families. If somebody wants to visit somebody in jail, what are they going to do? Fly and get a visa and go to El Salvador and come back? Come on. You are not only punishing that person, you're also punishing their family. In every location, this is a very wrong idea. And it's very inhumane and wicked, if I have to say that.
And what about the people who live there? Like you're saying, you don't want to waste taxpayers' dollars. So the people of El Salvador doesn't matter. They must waste their dollars. They're already suffering, but you don't give a damn about their country. They must take care of your citizens. Like how disgusting can you be? And
But their
inhumane.
president is
This is
opening the
human
doors.
trafficking. Period.
Okay, hang on
So
a
he's still
second. We need
paid
to
by
hit the
American
timeout because I need
taxpayers.
to address Sir Jude on a couple things. I love the fact that you brought up the Eighth Amendment. When you think about cruel and unusual punishment, imagine what they do to a pedophile in prison. Imagine what they do in cruel and unusual punishment when they rape people over and over, senselessly beat them, shank them, do whatever they need to do. You don't think a prison is cruel and unusual? You're damn right it is. Now, that's the first thing. Now, the second thing is when the Salvadorian president says, yes, we'll take them. That's not trafficking. That's solving a problem.
Did the
The
people say
nastiest of the
yes?
nastiest don't belong to be and deserve when they're killing other people. And they have been convicted of multiple murders. We could actually draw a line somewhere and say, hey, these people don't belong in our country because guess what? They can go somewhere else. I'm going to tell you, an American prison is pretty cush compared to some of these other prisons in South America or Central America. Let them rot in hell. If you kill somebody, if you rape somebody, if you absolutely destroy someone's life, you're not allowed back to try and rehabilitate yours because you screwed up repeatedly. I'm sorry. You might get one chance,
American
but after
citizen,
you've
you're
done it
saying, as
successively
an
and you've been
American citizen,
Let him
convicted
Storm?
finish.
time after time, understand that there is going to be a consequence and somebody needs to pay for it. I'm all for it.
You know what? But what about
Talking
Now,
about
let me
how?
wake it
American
up a
But
little
what
bit.
about
citizens,
what
Let me
about
wake
Storm.
it up a little
what
bit.
about if you're
If we
wrongfully
have to do
accused, right?
that,
No, hold on. What if
yeah.
you're wrongfully accused? I get what you're saying, Storm, but
Yeah,
there has been cases, for example, like Central Park Five, you spent like decades in prison because you're wrongfully approved of murder.
there have been. You're right.
So
And
what
here's what I
happens?
would say to that, Jay, very simply. If you're a repeat offender, now I'm not talking about wrongfully accused once. I'm talking about someone who's been in 4, 5, 6, 7 times and they continue to get back out somehow and the system is not working, get them the hell out of here. After about 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, after you've been convicted, I don't think there's a wrongful conviction multiple times on that. So you can
Gotcha.
shake your head all you want,
When he
but there
talks
are
of
Son,
people
crimes
in
that
what,
you
this earth
mentioned,
and there's people
there's
in
no
this
repeat
country who don't
offenders.
belong in to be in our society as a free person. It's pretty clear they're a danger. And when we let those people out, why let the American people suffer and why let innocent people suffer?
okay.
Answer
There's
me that.
there's no repeat offender.
One,
They
one
need
mic,
to
one
they
mic,
need to
one mic,
send all
guys.
those people that hate
One
America out
mic.
of
I
here.
said one mic, guys. One mic, guys. Here's the deal, Storm. I want to say something. Most of the wrongfully convicted people are repeat offenders. Okay. And yeah, no, absolutely, because they're the easiest to pin the crime on. So that's the first thing. I just want you to be mindful of that. Okay, when you get police officers that do lazy work because someone was all known to break in houses or whatever, or in that neighborhood or whatever, they go look for them. So they're wrongfully the wrongfully accused are often people that have had previous exposure to the police department and they know them and they want to get them off the street. So I just want to put that out there. But guys, we have people on CH, okay, that want to jump in. So I want to go over to CH, uh, positive or whoever on CH. Who are we working with on from CH?
We had someone, but he left.
Absolutely. Positive, jump in next time. Let me know. CH, if you guys want to participate, raise your hand, come to the stage, and we will make sure we get you guys right in. All right. So, with that being said, I think the God jumped in. The God, I be, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I'm saying I think they should send all those people that hate America, they should send them all out of here. Especially those January 6th and them people destroying Washington, D.C. Send all them motherfuckers out of here. You don't want to live here? You don't like America? You don't like this experiment? Get your ass out of here. Send them El Salvador or somewhere else. But they don't need to be here. We need with people who want to build shit. Build ass on out of here.
Let's go to God.
There
That's what
you
I'm talking
go.
about.
I have a question. So
Wait,
these
wait,
people
nobody's going to say that? Nobody's going
are
to say
these
anything to the
are
God's
these people
statement?
American? Are these people American?
What people?
Or the bad people you're sending off to El Salvador?
That's the plan.
Well, if
I
they're
mean,
American,
look,
you should deal with your own shit. Why you want to send them to
We'll
other
send
person's
Canadians
I
too
country?
mean,
if it happens.
the
Each
God
country,
illustrates
each
exactly the danger
each
here.
country should deal with their own stuff. Why the other people in the other country, the other citizens should deal? Suppose they break out of prison down there. I think if it's American prisoner, deal with them there. If they're good, deal with them. If they're bad, deal with them. So you should be able to deal with your own shit. That's all I have to say, and I'm done speaking.
So, Yvonne, you know what? There's been a lot of ones that have broken out of prisons in Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador, and they made it up here somehow. So, we need to deal with them illegally. Is that what you're saying? Illegal
No, no,
migration
no,
has
no.
happened
English
and they
language,
have broken
English
out of
language.
prisons,
You
and
asked
we're
me a
having to deal with
question,
it as
and
the
you've been
United
talking a
States. And what
lot.
you're saying, I agree with you
You've
100%.
been
We should
talking a
send them
lot.
back. You're exactly right.
Let me answer. If you're bad people, you deal with your bad people, you deal with your good people same way. Why should another country deal with them? I'm not talking about the ones that break you. You guys always go back to what about? What about? I'm saying, and this is English. If your American people do bad, deal with them, deal incarcerate them, do whatever you have to do. Why is it that you have to send them to some? Why you want to send all your bad people to somebody else's country? And you know, you only want the good. You know, you want people's land, you want people's resources, and you want everything, but you don't want the bad people. Deal with your own bad people, deal with your own shit. America, Canada, Jamaica, deal with your own shits. That's how it goes. But you want to take your bad people, just like when they colonized Jamaica. You know what they did? They sent all the thieves and the crooks from England and France and put them in the country. That's where it's just the old colonization attitude. Keep your
Okay.
people, deal with them, rehabilitate them, and deal with your own stuff. But this thing about you don't want your bad people, you're gonna ship them off to somewhere else. It's just brutal and crazy to me. I land.
Can I
Okay.
jump in there? When you,
1 second, guys. Chat. Are you ready with the video of all
Mm-hmm.
these sound? All right, let's guys. What we have here is Donald Trump being caught on a hot mic, speaking to the Salvadorian president. Chat anytime.
Sorry.
No
It
problem.
just put in for an update. So give me a
All
second.
right, okay. Anyway, with that being said, the gentleman that wanted to jump
that
in. Who
was
was that?
me, Divine.
Let's do it.
So I know you don't like to get racial, but the fact remains: 38% of the jail population is black. 38%. That's almost 40% of the people in jails. So for a people that only make up 13% of the population and are almost 40% of the people in jail, my spidey senses start tingling. So this tells me, you want to send the hard-on criminals who you deem to be hard-on criminals out of this country. And so we know that there's a disproportionate and there's a disparity in the judicial system and in the prison system as to how the population breaks down. So I just wanted to bring that up because, like I said, that tells me you want to get a certain population up out of this country, up out of these jails, and you want to send them down to El Salvador. And hell to the no. We don't want that. I land.
Jonathan, we have someone at CH. Emmett wants to speak.
Go ahead.
Emmett, go ahead.
All right, we'll come back to Emmett. So yeah, Divine, your point, and I thought about your point, because of the over policing in that community, and the quotas. Yeah, I mean, right now there are prisons right now that has to have a certain amount of people in there. It's not like, hey, let's let this thing fill up organically. Sometimes these private prisons build prisons and they have to have 95 or 90% capacity at all times, and that's a contract that they have with the state and the federal government. So what that means? That means that they have to go out and they have to convict and they have to get people and put people in these prisons, because if they don't, they're going to have to pay. And that's something that, when you look at it, all right, when you look at it, is something that we can't do. That's not something that is, when you look at it, that's not something you want to. Yeah, I want to be a part of, because there will be, a disparity in how this is applied. That's just the way it goes. That's the American way. It's going to always go that way. I do believe that. So, and that's something to be concerned about. Um, but more importantly, I'm more concerned about American citizens. I'm more concerned about American citizens being sent. I mean, hey, you know what? We don't need to send American citizens down there. I think we've been doing. I mean, putting American citizens in prison out of country isn't something that I would ever sign off on. I think would ever fly with me, because of the fact that American citizens, believe it or not, folks, we do have rights, and I mean, you lose a lot of those when you go to prison. But there's a lot of people that are just put in prison, uh, and they're found not to be have committed the crime. Some people decades later. So that's something that I don't want. I think, if you put, right now, like I said, down the president Donald Trump claims, okay, we all know it's a claim. I think everyone knows it's a claim, that he can't get the prisoner back. Okay, and that's a Supreme Court battle that we're going to get to, by the way, tonight. But okay, so you send an American citizen down there, and he's found to be have been exonerated when the exculpatory evidence is discovered. What do we say? Oh, we can't get him back. He has to stay down there. She has to stay down there. That's something that we need to consider, folks. That's something that we need to consider. And and I'm applying a standard that the current administration is using right now. We've never been in a situation before because we've never done this before.
They should have thought about that in November. In November, they should have thought about that. Everybody was telling him what this dude was going to do when he got in office. Now he in office, and everybody want to be shocked and appalled of what's going on. Where y'all was at when the polls was going on. Now you want to be under pressure and feeling all types of crazy because didn't go. It's too late now. Fuck out of here.
That's
Well,
y'all under pressure, man.
H, go ahead, Emmett. Emmett, you ready? Go ahead.
Emmett going twice. All right, we're gonna move back. We're gonna move back over here. Chat. Are we updated yet? Are we ready to go? Let me know when we're ready to go. Chat. Anyone else wants to jump in on this? Because I think. Listen to me. I'm not here. I'm not gonna fight for prisoners. Okay, criminals. I should say. I'm not gonna fight for criminals. If you're guilty, go through the criminal system, justice system. Okay, and the appellate system. Okay, as well, definitely. But I'm not going to defend known murderers, rapists, or anything like that. Not going to do that. I refuse to do that. But I certainly do not want to see anyone sent out of the country. And the reason I don't want to send anyone out of the country is because we don't know that as technology improves, we find out that people just haven't committed the crimes that they said they committed. And we're able to go back and look at a crime that's 15, 20 years old, and determine that, wow, this person is innocent, when this person was all along perceived to be guilty. So
JB,
yeah, but
do you think CCOT is inhumane?
yeah, I do, actually. Matter of fact, if you look at the whole, the whole isolation, That one little hole up top where that little light comes through. Look like the size of a tin can hole, and that light comes through. There's no blankets to cover up. Okay. There's no mattresses at all. All right. There's no mattresses. There's no blankets, no pillows. You just lay it on a metal slab.
Well, all the people that they murdered aren't breathing. They're not with their families.
Listen to me.
I
That,
mean,
And people are
no. I want Andrew to finish what he's saying. Go ahead, Andrew.
no, and I mean, this guy, he's an El Salvadorian national. He's a citizen of El Salvador who is in an El Salvador prison. But y'all want to bring him back to the States to put him in our jail. It's stupid.
No, we don't want to put him in our jail. Listen to me, okay? The federal government went on record and said that they made a mistake. All right.
The
Uh,
mistake isn't that he's actually not a criminal. That's not the mistake that was made.
yeah, no, the mistake was made. No, they said they made a mistake and said that they grabbed him and he wasn't a criminal. They said that. That's the United States. They're on record saying that. Okay. And now that they've lost their appeal, okay, they now want to say something totally different. So, CH, I'll get back to you shortly. I just want to make sure that we finish up over here, CH. So yeah, so now that they've lost their appeal, it's now something totally different. All right. So here's the deal, folks. I'm never gonna fight for a criminal from another country to come back here. Okay. If someone needs to be deported, deport them. All right. But I just don't want anyone. I don't want anyone. I don't want my rights deported at the same time. Right. So that's what it is. I'm not fighting for these criminals. I'm fighting for my due process. I'm fighting for your due process because we're never gonna know when we need them. If I get behind a car, I don't know, leaving Cindy's house one night, and have a great party, and I had one or two drinks too many, and I think I'm good, and I probably am good. Okay, I probably am good, and I accidentally, I'm talking on the phone, and I hit someone and kill them, and know, and I don't want my due process that I'm owed affected because of something I supported. We never know as American when we're going to do it. Because I think we've all had a friend or a relative that was just not supposed to wind up where they wound up. And due process, whether they were not guilty or guilty, but due process is what got them through it. So that's where I'm at. It's not about the criminal. It's not about supporting him. You could replace that person and put him with any person, any name, whatever. It's about the due process that's guaranteed to me as an American. That's what makes us unique. That's what makes us feel like that's what makes us get on. That's what made it possible for us to have on Chatter today podcast that was recorded today.
Yo, guys, can we
So
speak?
so with that being said, I'm gonna go with CH. Go ahead, CH.
All right, so let's go with Emmett first and then 10 Prince. Go ahead, Emmett.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
All right, yep, thanks again. I'm in agreement 1,000% with Jonathan. I think this is all about due process. I mean, if you get hit, if you hit somebody, I'm entitled to due process. And I think the backlash behind this, once the presidency is over with, is going to be so overwhelmingly that we're not going to be able to recover from this. I think that we need to have this administration really think about what they're doing, and it's just not being done thoughtfully at all. It's going to be severe backlash behind this, and this is setting up presidency for the future. And I got a problem with it. This here is going overboard now. It's going totally overboard. Why haven't we seen the list of the persons that were on that flight over there by now. Why? Outside of it being in court. That should have been made public record. Why is everything being done in the dark? What this administration is doing? I landed there.
All right. So anyway,
Why are we gonna know any of their names? Are they celebrities? Are we gonna know any of their names even if we get them? Look at you see Christy Nome every night on TV telling the illegal aliens go home, come back legally, just go home. A lot of people are going home. They don't want to pay. They're going home, right? You see that. You see that they are going home. Am I correct? You do see her on TV stating that, correct?
Yeah,
yeah,
Cindy, but it looks like on this one, Trump's got to bring Garcia back home. This is not going to look good for Trump at all. If he can't get
Exactly.
this guy back, he's got to get this one back.
Well, if he's meeting with the president, why didn't he get him right back today? Come on.
He doesn't want to.
Okay.
Yeah, they're playing
That's
Yeah,
hardball, and I don't think this is going to go well for them if they play this out. It's not looking
you know
pretty.
what, guys? I don't think that they want to, and I think we need to try to figure out the name of this guy and maybe do some research and figure out what there's. What I'm seeing now, because this doesn't make sense. If he was deported and he's not a criminal and there's nothing going on, that this was a trade. And when I tell you, if we're doing that, then we have really sunk to a new low as a country. Because it's imagine. So imagine whatever.
I know you're not trying to hit us with the conspiracy. This
I'm
is
not
facts
hitting
now,
right
you.
now.
Hold on.
Tell them,
Hold
Bashan.
on. Wait a minute. Listen, it's not. I mean, I know it sounds like a conspiracy, but this is me using deductive reasoning to try to draw a conclusion as to why this is happening because it doesn't make any sense. And again, yes, it does seem like a trade to me. So imagine escaping persecution, from a country, maybe potentially receiving political asylum, having the ability to be here legally, and then the American government decides to make a deal, and that president says, yeah, sure, we'll take your prisoners for this amount of millions, and plus we want this guy back. See, because you have to think about the writing on the wall. It seemed like an accident, but then now you have to consider we're not even trying to get them back. And then remember how this happened initially when the plane was in the air and the Supreme Court was like, no, you can't do this, stop it. Trump was like, oh, well, it's too late. And then now they don't want to disclose the list. That is public information. The Freedom of Information Act, that information should not be concealed unless it's a matter of national security. And that is not the case. So again, this is really crazy, and we've seen it. We saw it with the frog embryos. If that girl gets returned back to Russia, she will be killed. Okay, so when she should have just got a fine, she's transporting frog embryos, and now they're trying to deport her for that. So something really stinks. And if you're supporting this, I'm telling you, you're going to look up one day, and I believe you're going to regret it, because this is a precedent that's being set. And we are on a trajectory and a slippery slope to all of our constitutional rights that took us out of medieval effing Europe. And we're getting ready to be in a time again. And I'm telling you, nobody, no matter who you are, that's not going to be a good thing.
yeah. So anyway, guys, yeah, I agree because I go back over to 10. But what I want to say is this right here. One second. So what I want to say is, like, guys, what's at stake here is, I don't know, any one of you. I don't know whether you're 6'6", basketball player. I don't know, blonde hair, blue eye, whatever. You get drunk one night over drink and you have an accident, you hit someone and they happen to be a federal agent and they die. And next thing you know, guess what? You're now charged with a federal crime, and you get convicted and you're off on your way over to El Salvador, and you're crying like, what did I do? I don't deserve that. I don't deserve that. And you supported this all the way along. This can happen to any one of you, whether it's your children, your spouses, your parent, or whatever. It can happen to anyone, and that's what people aren't thinking about. That this thing can like ricochet back, boomerang back on you. 10, go ahead.
10? You mean 10 Prince?
No,
10.
no, no. Please, please. Guys, I can handle this. 10. Let's go. CH. All
Okay.
right.
I'm telling Prince, there's a 10 on the stage, or it was. But anyways, my idea falls in line with what you're saying, also with the manufacturing and the tariffs. Okay, so I feel like when it comes to the prisoners that we have now, they're the only part of the United States that can be paid little to nothing in order to do manufacturing work that was outsourced in the past because we couldn't pay American people enough to actually manufacture products here in the United States. So if we send them overseas, then they're far less, valuable. Then I don't think that we're actually using their resource, their manpower, in the way that could be. I mean, if we're going to look from it as like, a capitalistic standpoint, to um to bring more gross domestic products back to the United States. That's the only group of people that I can see could actually not get paid that much, but also produce. And it seems like some of these private prisons already have contracts with certain companies. And I remember back in the day, I don't know if any of y'all have watched the movie Life, but that, like, on the chain gang, they was building railroads. They was, still doing stuff that was actually helping the US. So if you go pay a fee for them to go over to a different country and just leave them there, they're not. I don't know if they're going to be helping El Salvador, but they're definitely not helping the United States. And especially somebody that's committed crimes and they are actually guilty of it, they should be contributing as much as possible to the US and, making America what is supposed to be great. And that's all.
You,
I
you know,
want
she
to say
she's making
that.
a lot of good points because you have companies like McDonald's, Verizon, Sprint, Starbucks, Walmart that benefit from prison labor. And that's why I said at first, it doesn't make sense for, quote, outsourcing in prison, right? Prisons for American citizens to go to prison overseas.
It does make sense because, as Donald Trump said, it's that for the people who have committed very atrocious crimes, like, you know, murdering somebody's grandma, like stuff like that. So, those people, you don't want them to come back into society. You don't want them to be working, the prison. What do you call it when they have the people that are reformed and stuff like that? You don't even want them in your country anymore.
Why don't you want them to come back to society once they've been reformed? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, some people can't get reformed, can't be reformed. They need to just be deported. And I think it's a brilliant idea. And I think they need to make sure that they're never able to enter into the United States again once they are deported. And I do believe that El Salvador is one of those places where people do stay in prison for life. A lot of times they get lost in the system. So I think that's excellent. They need to go somewhere horrendous like that. And um, I will just also say that I don't think when you talk about bringing the factories and stuff back to America, I don't think it's going to be human labor. I think it's going to be the robots. I think Elon has already cooked up a master plan, and I don't think they're going to be doing human labor much in China much longer. So I think it's just competing over who can get these factory contracts and stuff like that, who can go ahead and have that stuff in place for when the robots
Are
are.
you familiar with Core Civic? I would definitely do some research on Core Civic. And actually, I would start watching their financials here if this whole thing is if all these prisons are we sending American prisoners overseas.
Wait,
You know, let me just say something. The woman that was on CH, man, you're cold. You're cold as hell. That was her. That's probably some of the coldest shit I've heard yet. So, with that being said, yeah, you're sending, and she's right. If you go to CCOP, basically you're there for life. All right, that's the thing with CCOP. Okay, uh, So and right now, how that's going to play out as these people start aging out because they grabbed a lot of young gang members and just recently. So, but that's I think the 13th Amendment does allow it prohibits slavery or involuntary servitude except for as punishment for a crime. All right, so that means that inmates, prisoners, they're essentially can do slave labor. Okay, and that's and so you're right. This that labor that's a viable labor pool or source that we're putting out that we're getting putting out there, and people commit crimes and they're sentenced, and once they complete their sentence, they are essentially you know back as citizens, and and their rights is restored, pretty much all their rights restored. No, you don't send someone to another country to rot in their prison because they got a 7 year sentence or 8 year sentence or 12 year sentence or 10 year sentence. It may have been incorrect. There are a lot of people, guys, that accept plea bargains because they can't afford a legal defense, and they know that if they don't accept a plea bargain, that it gives them, I don't know, 8 years in prison. They're going to wind up getting, I don't know, a possibility of 27 years. So, there's a lot that goes with that. All right. The way our system's been set up, it has not been set up to handle people, going to another country, especially when they say they can't bring them back. So, it scares me.
Even if you commit insurrection,
Insurrection, yeah.
huh?
Let me just say, yeah,
Even
yeah.
if you try to overthrow the government, you think you should be able to stay here?
What I think is if you
Sleep for the
try
death.
if you are a American citizen and you commit an act of insurrection or try to overthrow the government, you should be tried in the United States and you should be punished in the United States. You should be there, and it needs to show people as a deterrent. People need to see this is what happens, whether you're executed or you're sentenced to whittle away in prison. It needs to serve as a deterrent right here in the United States. 100%.
No, they need to see that, you mess around, you find out. They need to see that being an American citizen is a privilege.
Where you from?
Don't grow up here, you're not born here and think you're going to be a menace to the society cuz you can go to the third world with everybody else. So I think it's brilliant.
What do you
So,
mean being an
so is it
American
okay? Is it
citizen
okay?
is a privilege, you moron?
Yo,
It's
yo, see,
literally a right.
yo,
It's
see,
a
Brit,
right in the
yo,
You
Constitution. No,
Hey,
no.
moron is
That's
a
the
yo,
dumbest
stretch
thing
yo,
I've
now.
heard all night. That's the dumbest shit I've heard all night. It's literally
People
a right. It
love the
says these are inalienable rights in the Constitution. Have you ever read it in your whole life? What are you talking about? Being a citizen is a privilege.
Right.
something
You
that
moron.
is
It
What
is
if
a
you are a
No,
right.
citizen?
no. She's talking about immigrants
one my
coming
guys,
to.
one my guys, man, what's your name? What's your name?
Don't
Okay.
be shy.
First, and I brought it up,
Yeah,
and
What's her name, guys? Is she CH? Is she still on stage?
yeah. Her name is
Sister.
Sister on here.
oh, wait,
Sister, uh,
age.
sister. Okay, sister. How you doing? First of all, how are you?
Fine. How are you, Jonathan?
Okay, good. Where are you located? What part of the country are you in?
I'm in the Southeast.
Southeast. Okay, that's good. That's good. That's nice to know. So, now when you said it's a privilege, being an American is a privilege. Can you address that? What did you mean by that?
People work their butts off to come here. There
Okay.
are, and that's the thing. Most Americans are the ones who came off mic. The people who were probably born in America that are like, "What do you mean it's a privilege?" But you talk to anybody who's from, a less developed country, whose family sacrificed tremendously, people who have literally left their entire families to come here because it is a land of opportunity, they will tell you how much of a privilege it is. And many of us have stepped
Bullshit.
outside, have not
Bullshit.
outside of our
Bullshit.
borders,
Hang on,
outside,
Chris. Let her finish.
outside of the comfort of outside the comfort of the resort to realize what's going on in the rest of the world. You go to El Salvador, El Salvador has cleaned up house, and I know that's why another reason why I think it's a brilliant idea because El Salvador has done a lot of reform in their society, getting rid of the gang members and stuff off the streets. And so I think we could learn a thing or two from them because this doesn't make any sense how America has turned so ghetto and so violent when it's supposed to be the best country in the world. Doesn't make
You're
any
so dumb.
so
You're
go with
so dumb, man. Come on.
problem apples,
One
get
mic.
apples out of off of the tree. Send
I agree.
One mic, guys. One mic on sisters. Listen to me, guys. Listen to me. If someone from CH is speaking, do not jump in because we have no choice but to drop you because you interrupt them. All right, that's how it is. That's how the setup is. So, yeah, sister. So you're from the southeast, okay? And I went over to look at the other device while you were speaking to see what your profile looked like, and it's all blacked out. And I guess that's done intentionally, correct?
yes, sir. Well, it's just I don't have profile picture anymore.
Gotcha, gotcha. You mind tell us how do you identify?
What do you mean?
Like, what race are you?
I'm biracial.
Gotcha. All right. All right, so all right, no problem. I just wanted because I'm trying to get a gauge, all right, and I want the audience to have a gauge, all right, because it's important while we're having these discussions. All right, sister, I think you're right in the sense that being here is a privilege if you come from another country. I, I'm going to agree with that. If you come from another country, to come here, that is a privilege if you're allowed to be here. All right, and if you have to follow the laws of the land, like just like if I go to France, it's a privilege for me to be there, and I'm going to have to follow the laws of the land while I'm there. So I agree with you on that. If that's what you're speaking about, 100%, it is a privilege, and that they need to follow the laws. Now, if they don't follow the laws, I think they still are entitled to due process because the Constitution protects us all right, to make sure that once again, because it's easy to single out a group of people, whether they're immigrants or whether they're females or whether they're religious, I don't know, Buddhist or Jewish or whatever it may be, you know. So I want to put that out there because I think when you spoke, I thought you were talking about citizens because we were speaking about citizens, but you came back and you said the things that you said, and that's why I was like, hey, I want to know more about you. All right, so anyone want to respond to sister or talk to sister?
I did want to.
I think she
I
was
did want to
also
have a.
talking about Americans having, even though you're born in America, it's still a privilege to be here.
Is it
You don't get
sister?
to break laws either because you're American.
No, Cindy. No, no. If I'm born in America, it's not a privilege to be here. It's an inalienable rights. As Skull has said, that's not a privilege.
Well, it's being
I
challenged
disagree.
now. So
What do you mean it's being
Well,
challenged?
Being
Jonathan, a privilege to be here
Oh,
from where?
oh,
From where?
one second, one second, guys. You guys gotta learn how to beat up. What do you mean it's being challenged? You saying that
challenge.
being an American, the right to be an American is being challenged? Is that what you're saying?
Well, if you're committing extreme violent crimes, I'm talking like I said, killing someone's grandmother, just being a menace to society overall, extreme stuff. Okay, that being said, I this isn't the first time this has happened. When you look at Great Britain, and who they sent to America, the American colonies and stuff before it was the United States, who they sent to Australia was these people who were criminals, these people who were debtors and things like that, and debtors prisons and things like that. So this is not the first time in history that a nation
No.
has sent their people who were
Mm-mm.
basically dragging the society down out to somewhere else. This
No,
is
no, but I'm going to disagree. I think when those situations happen, they were given a choice: either stay in prison or they can go. All right, and so they made the choice. Okay, there's no country I know of that have expelled their citizens. Okay, out and say, okay, you no longer because you did this, you're no longer a citizen. They put you in prison or they execute you. So that's pretty much what it is. And you do your time or you die in prison. So, chat, are you there with that? Because guys, remember this all started because Donald Trump said he's considering sending the homegrowns, okay, American citizens. Actually, he's not considering; he's trying to. But Chad, are you there with the video or the what do you have? That's horrible, Chad. I don't know what's going on. Something's horrible.
Well, he's getting together on in the
Yo,
Australia
mute your mic, man. Mute your mic. Yeah, guys, CH, please handle that.
voice.
Go ahead, Chad.
No, it's not playing correctly.
It's not playing correctly. All right, guys, I did hear him say homegrown. I'll see if I can find him. Chat, send me the link. I'll play it directly from my device into the mic. All right. So with that being said, yeah. So yeah, with that being said, yeah, chat, yeah, we can kill it. So once again, guys, yeah, definitely want to hear that. But yeah, so this is not when we're speaking about this. This is not an incident. This is not where we're sitting here. No one's sitting here saying Donald Trump. I'll just put hot mic, and I should come up with this Trump. So anyway, this is not an incident where someone is saying that Trump did something that he didn't do. This is one of those incidents where we have a president that was actually caught on a hot mic, just planning to send American citizens down to a foreign nation. So anyway, anyone wants to jump in? Who else was? There's some others that wanted to jump in. Go ahead, jump in.
Jonathan is Chris.
Go, Chris.
Couple of things. With the lady called Sister on CH, being a born American citizen is a privilege. From where? From heaven? And then you're gonna send my son or myself, that I'm an American citizen, back to some country where I did not come from? That doesn't make a sense. Now, secondly, I'm trying to figure out how Trump is gonna, make his dream comes true about, sending an American citizen to overseas jail. I mean, third country. How is that gonna happen? I think it will require, a constitutional amendment to start with. And I think when judges, when they pass judgment, don't they say where they're gonna commute the offender to? I don't see this happening at all. I think the guy is just talking. The guy is just dreaming. I find it very difficult to, I find it hard to happen.
I mean, respectfully, yes, actually, Chris. Inalienable rights do technically sometimes come from heaven if you believe they come from God. Where is TC when you need him?
Can I
He
play
could
this real
explain
quick,
this.
Diana?
Get it, chat.
Louder, please.
Be mindful, it's a hot mic, so it's
All right, guys. So it's a hot mic. That's about as clear as it's gonna get. So what he was speaking to the Salvadorian president, he told him that they want to he wants to send homegrowns there. He's like homegrown. He goes, yeah, the homegrowns are next. He then told, then he said, you're gonna have to build 5 more of these things. And then the Salvadorian president said, yeah, that's not, and everyone laughed. So essentially, so there's not a question about what his intentions are. And that was a hot mic, folks. And that wasn't the reason audio was poor. Was it is a hot mic? It was caught. It wasn't supposed to have been heard. All right, they were just having a conversation amongst themselves. And so later on, when he was asked about that, he fessed up to it. And when he asked, "What do you mean by homegrowns?" and he said, "American citizens."
What kind of American citizens? Like kids running the streets,
The
gang
bad
kids?
ones.
Did he
Just
say
kidding.
5 million of them, or did I hear that wrong?
No, build 5 of them. You need 5 of them. He's talking about 5 more Seacots.
But Jonathan, what if he was just trolling? I mean, it's like if I were to say, you
Well,
know
wait,
what,
wait,
I've
wait.
got 10 people on this stage right now that I would think about deporting, doesn't mean I'm not like serious. You don't know that.
Diana,
Hot
you're
mic.
not the
Why are you
president. It's a
always
hot
making
mic.
excuses, Diana?
Oh my God, at least have the conversation before you attack our
I'm
American president.
I wasn't attacking him,
Well,
Diana. I was
he
asking.
he actually, Diana, to be clear, he actually doubled down on it when he was asked about it. He wasn't trolling. It was a hot mic, and he did say he clarified. Yeah, that's what he's going to do. That's what he's planning on doing.
Well, I'm glad we've gotten to the point where we're saying that it's a joke because at least we've now all admitted that it's undefensible, right? So we better hope it's a joke.
Not necessarily. There's still one more ace card. If
Indefensible. You just
if
said it.
I
Hopefully he's
was
just trolling. He's
listen,
trolling. Yeah,
if
but
I
you
was
better hope that
president,
because this is un-American stuff.
if I was president of the United States and I didn't believe in the death penalty, there is still a reason for transporting some of those criminals to another facility. I would at
Diana,
least have the conversation about it. You
have
guys
the
don't
con-
even want to talk about it.
Diana, have the conversation about it, but it is the role of the President of the United States to defend and protect the people of the United States, sending them to an El Salvador prison where right now there's Google satellite images of what looks like dead bodies outside in CCOT. That's not protecting the American citizens. That's not keeping them from the death penalty.
Well, that would be bad. Very, very bad. Bad, bad, bad.
Okay.
And Diana is just
He's being
trolling, man.
Uh,
Come on.
I am not
John,
trolling. I want to have a conversation.
Jonathan, I don't think that there's bodies outside of Seacot. I
We
You
don't
guys
know.
don't.
have been wrong like 5 times on
Well,
your
even if
facts
there
Yeah,
today.
were, they're not our citizens.
Oh, Cindy,
exactly.
don't
Well,
say that.
Oh, we don't know
Well,
that
they're not our
again.
citizens.
We
We
don't
can't
know
control
that.
what goes on in another country, how they punish people in their countries. We don't have a say in that.
That's exactly right, which is why we shouldn't be sending our people there.
I
So
would agree
Johnson, let
with
me
that one. I would agree with that one. But if you're a Jeffrey Dahmer, like who cares? Like send them, right? If you're that bad of a
no,
criminal,
no,
No, just
Cindy,
execute him here,
yeah,
Cindy.
you
Just
can.
execute him
no,
here.
Cindy, no, you don't send them,
But you
Cindy.
know, a lot of states don't have the death penalty. Okay.
But Cindy, you don't send them there because Cindy, if it turns out that he really isn't a Jeffrey Dahmer, okay,
Well, I'm
and
saying we got to prove. I get
yeah,
it.
I know, and he was probably some guy that was breaking into houses, sniffing underwear, stealing women underwear, and they happened to find him, and so this is the guy we broke him in, so it is,
Yeah, but
that's
but Cindy, on this specific one, I do think that he needs to work really hard to bring him back because he can't show that he's willing to defy the Supreme Court because of Bukele. That doesn't look right for him at all. He's
Thousand
got to do
percent. But
something to bring
also,
him back.
Diana, remember this. He said he was going to go after the gangs, the hardcore criminals, right? You're coming to our construction sites and taking guys off of our sites. They're the hardworking guys. Again, they're here illegal, but get rid of the trash first. Then figure out what you're going to do with the guys that have been here for 10, 15 years, paying taxes and owning a company. Now,
you,
how
know,
many have again, I've got one that got pulled over and he's not in a good place right now, right? Wherever he's being held, he's not an American citizen. His partner was. They got pulled over, leaving a job site. You know, that's profiling right there, as far as I'm concerned. but they're literally coming to job sites. So
Uh,
what happened to getting the bad guys out first and then do the hardworking guys that actually come here, work hard, and figure out what the game plan is for them that have done nothing wrong but come here to have a better life? Again, I will agree they're here illegal, but if they've been here for a decade plus, paying their taxes, not doing anything wrong, living the American dream, there's got to be another system for those type of men. I'm sorry, but that's what I agree on. That's my feelings. You
Absolutely.
said you were going to take off all the bad gangs off the streets. Okay, I'm all for that, 1,000%. But when you're hitting job sites and you're hitting the Home Depots and you're grabbing guys that way, I got a problem with that. And they're hitting the job sites.
So here's the guy, Cindy. I agree with you 100%. You know, there's some people. Everything is just getting more and more expensive, and I just I'm looking. You know,
But has anybody in this room actually know somebody that either you know or has been working for you and they've got taken in?
nope.
Am I the only person here right now?
I don't know
I
him. I'll stay away from illegal aliens.
No.
There was a couple people taken from our church a couple weeks ago. So
Okay. So now
So
they're going to churches to take them out?
there it is. Hey guys, real quick. Cindy, hold that thought. Guys, real quick. If you guys are in the room, up top we have the link to the podcast. All right. Uh, do me a favor, folks. Go up there because a lot of you guys are saying you're following. Okay, you guys aren't following us. Please follow the podcast. We're here every night. We're putting in a hard work. Make sure that you guys get the information. We have people doing an excellent job at the datelines. Just go out there, follow the podcast, download a few episodes. All right. Doesn't cost you anything. And also, guys, make sure you guys leave a review if you guys are enjoying it. It helps us. The podcast numbers have taken off. They've done some extraordinary things with the help of the public. Not with the help of you, not the help of you guys, the help of the public that's out there listening. So make sure you guys do that as well. And if you're listening at home, do me a favor, also, I want you guys to download the Chatter Social app. The Chatter Social app is a free app, folks, and you are able to come and participate in these discussions live. And we have live discussions today. Chatter Social. I was actually honored to not take part, but I was there to just watch and listen to the Fuck Trump podcast. And it was that's coming out on the chat. That's happening on the Chatter Social app. And we also have the Rainmakers podcast that's happening tomorrow. Wendy, are you there? Wendy going twice. All right. So, with that being said, Wendy Butler's not here. Is there anyone here from the Rainmakers podcast that want to speak up and tell the audience what's going on?
Yeah, thanks so much, John. We always appreciate the shout out. The Rainmakers Power Hour this week will actually be on Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here exclusively on Chatter Social. Thanks for the shout out again.
All right. So that guys, once again, we're gonna keep this thing moving. What I want to say to you guys is, yeah, there's a lot. Cindy,